Greetings and welcome to Catching Up with Namhla Ndlovu right here in Johannesburg, South Africa. How y'all doing? It's Friday and I'm sure everybody's thinking, oh my gosh, when are we going back home and just have a nice weekend? Well, to start you off for the weekend, I'm going to be bringing you some interesting stories about your favorite South African celebrities. Remember to please hit us up, tell us what you think about our show, of course, and send us your comments and suggestions. Don't forget to tell us where in the world you are touching us from, of course. Right now, though, it is time for your headlines for today's episode. And with the headlines, Namhla Ndlovu reveals details on the alleged abuse from estranged husband. Stogie T lashes out at Rasta's portrait of icon DMX. Trevor Noah takes aim at US policing system. And Tweeps drag Sivngezi and Namhla Ndlovu in online tone debacle. Kamumpela being compared to Lebo Mathosa causes an outrage. South Africa composer makes history with Xhosa folk song for Harvard Glee Club. And former false prophet lifts lid on how cult churches operate in South Africa. And our last story, Durban family in a panic after spitting cobra slithers into lounge to cool off. More on those stories just after our short break. Remember to please send us your comments and your suggestions on our social media pages. We really love hearing from you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Catching Up with myself, Namhla Ndlovu, all the way from Jozi, Johannesburg, South Africa. Remember to hit us up on our social media pages and tell us what you think of the show. This is your home of excellent black entertainment, of course, non-film flicks. Let's go. These are your stories. Our first story, Namhla Ndlovu reveals details of alleged abuse by estranged husband. That's J Black Coffee. Actress and fashion designer Namhla Ndlovu revealed details of the alleged abuse suffered at the hands of her estranged husband, that's Nkosi Nathi, otherwise known as Black Coffee Maphumulo. Now, I have been bringing you some of the stories taking place with this couple, and today she's revealing, saying in response to Black Coffee's recent public statement denying all the allegations of abuse leveled against him, Ndlovu broke her silence, detailing 5 years of alleged abuse from Black Coffee. I feel it is paramount for me not to only defend myself against the misrepresentation and counter accusations being made, but to also put an end to the cycle of abuse that I have continued to face at his commission, wrote Ndlovu. She continued, I am no longer fearful. It is with this renounced sense of self that I wish to recount the numerous incidents on which he has beaten, berated, rendered me broken and unworthy. I have within the marriage and now as an estranged spouse endured gaslighting, emotional and verbal and physical abuse, as well as financial abuse at his behest. We will be bringing you more as the story unfolds. Next on our story, we've got Stogie T lashes out at Rasta for a botched portrait of hip-hop icon DMX. Zimbabwean-born Rasta, whose real name is Lebani Sirenje, has over the years earned himself a bad repertoire for his unflattering work. Despite getting a lot of flack on social media for his botched portraits, Rasta doesn't get discouraged. He just goes on and on and on. He continues to showcase his work on different social media platforms, and this time Rasta seems to have hit a nerve with his latest drawing of DMX, leaving fans of the late hip-hop superstar fuming. Unfortunately, DMX died this past Friday, that was the 9th of April, at White Plains Hospital in New York following a heart attack, according to the statement issued by his family. Days after the shocking news of DMX's passing broke, Rasta, who is popularly known for his paintings that are mostly done at celebrity and famous people's funerals, decided to honor the music icon with a portrait. Taking to Twitter, Rasta unveiled a painting with a caption, "Real example of multi-talent, real rappers pray, rest in peace, rest in prayer, my brother." Fans of the rapper, including Stogiti, whose real name is Tumi Mulekane, didn't seem impressed with Rasta's work, and he did not mince his words either. So Rasta, please, man, maybe some lessons there. Hey, people are really getting fed up. And our next story, Trevor Noah takes aim at the US policing system. Award-winning comedian Trevor Noah has used The Daily Show to take aim at the policing system in the US following the death of Daunte Wright. The 20-year-old black man was fatally shot by a police officer who claimed that it was an accidental discharge as she mistook her gun for a taser. The death of Daunte has caused outrage in America, triggering unrest in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, where the incident took place. Speaking on The Daily Show, Trevor expressed his thoughts on the police and how these devastating mistakes continue because of alleged trigger-happy behavior. He said, "You have to be kidding me. A man was shot at a traffic stop because the police officer mixed up their gun for their taser. Is that even supposed to be a legitimate excuse?" Look, this is what Trevor said. "Look, I'm not saying tragic mistakes will never happen. What I'm saying is that maybe if the police weren't so quick to draw any weapon, then maybe people wouldn't die." As Trevor, Joe, this is something that we're also experiencing in South Africa as well. So it's a problem we're all having at this present moment. Let's move on to our next story. Tweeps drag Siv Ngezi and Namhla Ndlovu in online tone debacle. Local TV personality Siv Ngezi was dragged on Twitter for calling out a Tweeps tone. And his fellow friend and industry colleague Namhla Ndlovu has been caught in the crossfire for having his back. In a series of direct messages that made its way onto the Twitter sphere by an upset Cape Town resident named Kamvach, Ngesi is being called to rally his networks, brands and associates to help raise awareness for uSphamandla Khoza, a young homosexual person from Ntunzima who was brutally murdered, allegedly by his neighbor. In the message, the upset Twitter user said, "You are a rights activist according to you and the bags that you eat. So do something and help raise awareness." Next story, Kamompela being compared to Lebo Mathosa causes another outrage. Tweeps were left outraged by a Twitter user comparing Amapiano star Kamompela to Lebo Mathosa. That's the late Lebo Mathosa. On Tuesday, Twitter user at Sam Moyo decided to be controversial but brave, posting that the Amaninkiniki star was the new Lebo Mathosa. Twitter users did not hold back on pointing out this wasn't a fair statement. Well-known DJ and television director Olwi weighed in and said, "No, Kamo is Kamo, Lebo is Lebo. The things that made us love Lebo aren't the things that made Kamo. Lebo was daring. You didn't know what she'd say in an interview. Her lyrics could be provocative or street or even love. You just had to be there. Kamo is great on her own lane." Other tweets came in with similar sentiments and shared them on the microblogging website. All I can say is continue to rest in peace, Lebo Mathosa, and we definitely miss you, girl. Our next story, South African composer makes history with writing Xhosa folk songs for Harvard Glee Club. This is amazing for the Xhosa tribe, of course. And in Cape Town, a 47-year-old Khayelitsha-based composer has made history by being the first black South African to be commissioned by Harvard University to write folk songs in isiXhosa for its male Glee Club. I'm very proud as well, hey? Bongani Makhatyana from Site C said he was approached by the institution last year after he was introduced to the director of choral activities at the university, Andrew Clark, and later performed his composition Kayalami, meaning my home. Makhatyana said that he owed his experience to the Siyaya Ensemble at J.L. Zwane Center in Gugulethu, where he wrote songs about HIV/AIDS in multiple genres in 2006. He said that in 2013, Village Harmony, a choral organization, invited him to conduct a workshop on one of his songs and later invited him to teach for its yearly programs. Makatyana, the original composer of the famous folk Xhosa song Unokwashu, said Makatyana, the original composer of the famous folk Xhosa song Unongawuse, said this opportunity would allow him a chance to correct the mistakes that had been made with Black South African choral music while exposing him to other institutions. With Harvard University being one of the most respected university, he said this motivated him greatly. And as from Xhosa land, we are very, very proud of you, my brother. Continue flying that flag high for us. And then our next story, former false prophets lift lid on how cult churches operate in South Africa. In Johannesburg, former false prophets have lifted the lid on how allegedly cult churches operate in South Africa, including allegations of hoax miracles to mentally captured and financially abused congregants. The Commission for the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities, that's the CRL Rights Commission, hosted hearing investigations in Braamfontein this Monday. During the hearing, former prophets and apostles from alleged cult churches gave insight into how congregants were mentally captured and financially abused, where former false prophet J. Israel told the Commission most miracles performed on television by prophets were stage managed. Israel was the pastor of Spirit Life Megachurch in East London. Israel, who said he was close to Alleluia Ministries International, that's the AMI, Pastor Alpha Lukai, alleged that the wheelchair miracles performed in the chair and his church were performed by people who were allegedly paid to get sick. I hope that people learn from these and stop listening to false prophets. I hope you all heard, yeah? Our last story, Durban family in a panic after spitting cobra slithers into lounge to cool off. Imagine that. In Durban, relaxing in your lounge after another hot day in Durban, when you spot a snake slithering out your door, oh my goodness, I would just lose it. That was the experience of a Westville North family who, unbeknown to them, had a slithery visitor with them while they cooled off from the day's heat in their lounge this Tuesday night. A family member who went to the kitchen spotted the snake exiting the lounge, going out the front door, and quickly called famed Durban snake catcher, that's Snake Evans. When I was called, the resident described the snake as a thick green snake. Now, if they lived on the coastline, I'd imagine it'd be a green mamba, but not in Westville. They insisted it was a thick snake and it looked green, Evans said. He said that when they turned the outside light and they noticed that the snake was grayish in color, which led him to believe it was a black mamba. That's quite common in Westville. Evans said that he and his wife, Joelle, rushed to the house, and when he shone his torch to where the snake had been pointed out to him, he saw the orange and black colors underneath the snake's neck, indicating that it was the highly venomous Mozambique spitting cobra. Oh my goodness. I went back to the car to fetch my visor while Joelle stepped further away. She's quite phobic of the venom that Mozambique spitting cobra spray. I'm no fan either, although we're both in awe of that amazing defensive ability, Evans said. Afterwards, the homeowner explained exactly what happened. Just on the other side of the lounge, which is what you step into when you enter the home, is another doorway. The snake seemingly entered that doorway, slithered through the lounge, and that's when it was spotted. A lady had been lying on a couch positioned right near that open back door. It probably slithered under or alongside the couch. Good thing her feet were up. I wouldn't have liked to be in that couch. Hey. Anyway, thank you for watching and tuning in your favorite home of Black entertainment, that's Non-Fel Flex. And to the rest of my colleagues around the world, I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Stay blessed. And to our viewers at home, we love you. Continue to tune in and, of course, send us your comments and suggestions on your web pages and tell us what we could add or take away to make the show even spicier. From myself, Namhla Ndlovu, I bid thee farewell. Thanks for tuning in.